All right, hi. This is going to be a little bit of an overview on my portfolio site, and I've decided to do this in case my hosting goes down or the internet is down or there's something funky, and potential client wants to take a look at some of the work I've done. Right now, this is Studio-Ryu.com. It's RYU, it's pronounced Ryu. The character here is kanji, or a Chinese character for dragon. The Japanese pronunciation Yu. That's a Japanese name that was given to me at language camp many moons ago, and it just kind of stuck for many different reasons. But I decided to make my name and my logo incorporating the character and the term. So Studio-Ryu. Some people say Ryu. That's incorrect. It's Ryu. Anyhow, this is my home site for all my kind of my work, my portfolio work. I've done everything from animation, illustration, graphic design, advertising design, game development, a lot of flash work slash motion graphics, multimedia design, lingo, director back when that was a thing, to modern uh, uh, single page application using a model view controller, JavaScript frameworks such as Angular, React, and Vue, and I'm uh, greatly versed with PHP and MySQL, which is how I build most of my personal project websites. So there's a MySQL backend that is controlling the content, and this is HTML5, CSS3. So these are the logos here at the bottom. I try to be accessible and be very accessible minded in many of my projects. Uh, Personally and professionally, I do keep accessibility in mind. In fact, there's tool sets that I've built here on the right hand side that sit, and this is for toggling the contrast. My contrast is already pretty high. I've already tested it using a extension called Site Improve and for font size, and this is for people that have visual impairments. So again, this is the level down here. It says it's by the W3C. This site is rated for double A out of a single to triple A. Triple A, or rather, single to triple A. Triple A is the highest level of accessibility you can achieve. .gov, I believe, and .edu sites have to have that high rating or high standard. And there's many sites that really just shoot for single A, if at all. I'm shooting for somewhere in the middle so I can be somewhat visually creative, but also still be accessible to most users on the internet. And then I pay for an SSL yearly. And so the HTTPS is my URL. And so that's what all these logos down here mean. So let's see, moving into my site, I have this is the date, this is a search engine that I just recently put in on my site to make it easier because I do have a large body of work. And usually I have a home and I have my portfolio. There's two links for portfolio and interactivities. Let's see here. So if we go to the my portfolio, and we can click either button here or the link. I start off basically with web design, and under new media, and this is at alphabetical order. I have animation, motion graphics, multimedia, user experience design, and web design. I also have a graphic design link, illustration, and interactivities. We'll look at that lastly. Portfolio site highlights some of the most recent work that I've done, and it is descending order. So basically, the latest projects that I've worked on are what's seen first, down to some of my really real earlier work. If I just want to scroll all the way down here real quickly, so some of this is my real earlier work. And I also do have a way to, in the database, list them how I want to list them as well. So there's a table in my DB that I can put certain projects above each other. And each one of the inserts here, I have an image, I have the title, I have who the client is for, the credits. Now I always cite the work of whether I did the art and the design, the art and or design and or the development. And if there's somebody else who did one or one of those things, then I made sure that I cite that person as well. So you'll know if I did the art or the design versus the coding, or vice versa, or both. So, and then I list the major tools that I use for this particular first project that I'm listing here is Photoshop, Illustrator. I'm using jQuery, HTML. We can just assume that's HTML5. Sass/CSS is Sass as a compiler. Syntactically awesome style sheets is what that acronym stands for building cascading style sheets, which is CSS3 technically. And then Chart.js has been used for that. That's a third-party free chart making framework slash library. And then I have an image. So I either have an image or a link or a animation, or excuse me, a video. I did a lot of flash work, and so if there's when we get to the motion graphics portion of it, these are just videos that I took before the internet slash Google no longer allowed Flash to be played within their browser. So for example, just to kind of see a larger version of this work, you can kind of see it here, the before of the way this interface look, and kind of how once I put my little touch to it, and the after for this particular body of work. And then, I could scroll down. I'm not going to go through each and every project. This would be a really, really long video if I did. I'll just highlight some of the ones that I think are really cool and important. Again, this is a piece that I did that I actually like. And again, the art, design, and programming by myself and another coworker. And we're using Adobe Animate, basically Adobe's version of Flash. They bought from Macromedia, then changed it to Adobe Flash, and now it's Adobe Animate. Using Angular, jQuery, HTML, and CSS. And I took a video of this site because there's motion in it. So there's motion graphics in this site. And it's a dynamically driven site. And in this video, and many of these videos, I just kind of go through a brief description and kind of just clicking through a click through of what how the site interacts, or what the site does or did or highlights or shows. So again, all you have to do if you want to look further into this, you can go to my URL, studio-ryu.com, and you could click on this and actually go through the whole thing. I fancy myself a bit of a kind of amateur linguist, somewhat of a amateur polyglot. Uh, the language that I focus on mostly and I speak daily is Japanese, and so I made my girlfriend a bilingual website to highlight some of her cooking skills. She's a very, very good cook. And she does all kinds of cooking, different types of food from all over the world, not only just from Japan. And I learn a lot from her. I like to cook too, but she's much better at me. Uh, she's got more experience in different cuisines. But here I just kind of have about section when it's relevant. Again, the client is myself, so it's kind of a case study. And then she was there to kind of be my user tester, um, from a UX standpoint. So she's basically telling me, what she likes, what she doesn't like, how things should be navigable for her, and color schemes, so on and so forth. So um, the features are it's bilingual, English and Japanese. It's PHP and MySQL powered. I built a custom CMS so that she or I can enter in English and Japanese, as well as upload relevant images. The tools: MySQL, PHP, HTML, CSS, jQuery, Photoshop. It's a live URL. It's bilingual English, Japanese, responsive site. And I built a homegrown CMS. We can kind of click to this briefly, because it's a live site, and as you can see, I can link off of it from my website here. So This is kind of the UI that has been built. And each one of these, you can go in, fruit jelly, which I like. You can go in and read more, and there's more of a description, right? And then I created a login so people could log in and comment or ask questions about a particular dish. Same here with the subscriber login. There's a search engine. There's different categories. These specific entry can be shared via social media here, Facebook, Twitter, or X now, or Pinterest. And then again, highlighting what I said, you could toggle between Japanese and English. Right now it's in English, and then we'll just switch it to Japanese. So there we go. And so this is the Japanese version, and here is the Japanese. Pretty much everything that is not tied down, so to speak, is translated or interpreted into Japanese. So a fluent Japanese reader could view this site and become a subscriber, can comment, so on and so forth. So I actually this was a good fun self project to do. I wanted to utilize it. I've got future plans for such things as well going forward with my own site. So that's to highlight some of my web design work. I've got tons and tons and tons of different examples. And again, like unless cited otherwise, site design by my direct boss at this company, Aniva, at the time, and then I did the code. So she's very, very good graphic artist, graphic designer, and she created the look that I like very much. And I did the PHP and the CSS behind it. So I cut it up and created that the UI for her. All right, so moving on. So that was web design. We've already touched that. So now we can kind of just go up from there. User experience, kind of briefly. Um, Again, this is a case study, most recent work using Figma. I'm very familiar with Figma, Adobe XD, and Axure RP as far as wireframing and prototyping tools. And I show examples, screenshots, or videos of my work in the past. Again, this is the wireframe I built for the bilingual site that we just looked at. And then the Axure RP wireframe. I wasn't able to actually get a hold to the some screenshots of the actual work, but I actually do like Axure RP. It's quite robust as far as a prototyping tool is concerned. My latest project, again, you can kind of read about this project here. I won't go through all this, but you can click on this and read about this. This is basically a faux application that highlights events that is meant to be a mobile app for people for users to be able to view local reggae events specifically. And I have a video that comes with that, also a link. And there's audio to this. There's audio to this, but I'm just going to walk through because, again, I believe I have a link on my YouTube channel to also view me talking about this project in depth. But again, this is built in Figma. I'm using lots of micro interactions and motion graphics and just kind of pushing the limits of what Figma is capable of in its current state because it's always in a in flux as far as development and its capabilities. This one actually incorporates a video. I'm showing that you could potentially like this. And again, this is not our actual real site. It's just the proposal more or less for the actual UI. So, just using different tricks with the UI within the Figma application itself. And with a paid subscription to Figma, you can, one can actually incorporate video within their prototype or wireframe. So that's kind of cool, although you do have to have a paid prescription or subscription, excuse me. So again, that's kind of my most recent project case study. I'm working on another one that I haven't added at this current time on a React project, another case study that I will most likely highlight soon. So look for that video or link. Again, some other case studies, actual work that I've done for clients, so on and so forth. So this is my user experience, and there'll be more being added to this page. Okay, so let's move to multimedia. And yeah, I've done a lot of multimedia, and that's just kind of a mix of everything. Again, using Flash, using Director, Macromedia Director at the time, uh, using audio, using video, kind of in one kiosk in one native UI per se, right? This was a piece that I had built for Aniva. The app and design and code is by myself. I used Photoshop, Illustrator, and Flash MX at the time. And this was a product, a project that was built for clients because Aniva is a multi level marketing company. They do have great products. I did enjoy their products. Where their salespeople could be able to uh, best prescribe which product might be useful for them. And this was a new. And let's see. Once the video loads, I show kind of a walkthrough, a brief explanation of how the application actually works. So what you can do with this application is you can choose male or female. You can, select parts of the body that their main flagship product is called Vibe, and you could click on a particular part of the body, and then it would suggest to you what to get, Kids Vibe or a Probiotic Junior, and then he suggests the amount that you would give your child for that particular individual male. In this example, if we clicked on skin and hair or respiratory or cardiovascular or something like that, cardio for circulatory system, these are the different products that you could buy and know which ones to use or take and the amounts for that particular body system. So I actually enjoyed building that project. It worked pretty well, and it's dynamically driven. So all the data and the imagery, as far as the products are concerned, and the data was driven in from a database. Again, using Flash MX. And then what I will show lastly is this kiosk that was to, and again, this is a picture within a picture, but it shows the actual animation that needed to be used that I incorporated for this project. So this actually has audio. I'm not recording the audio, but you can come to the site and visit to view how this actually works together. I actually enjoyed this project. I did not do the artwork, but I did incorporate all of the artwork, the UI, make it work together, the animation, the motion graphics, things like that. That kind of treatment is what I incorporated, working in tandem with an illustrator. So again, this is when Flash was all the rage. So again, if you want to come back and look at that piece of the longer link, there is audio. Feel free to do so. Studio-Ryu.com. Again, um, I did a lot of the flash work, the coding behind this piece here. We're looking at a fractions equivalent for a company that's learning outfitters. That was a company that was a startup that went defunct, but I worked closely with some really, really good illustrators. And then I incorporated Flash as well as Illustrator. And so there's a little bit of a blurb about the about and another piece similar. So this is some of my multimedia work that I've done over the years. Now we get to motion graphics. And motion graphics, again, art and animation by myself, even though I can't take credit for the logo for Daikin. But what I can show you. All right, so this is an attract loop I did. We're going to go view it here. And yeah, this was done, I believe, with Adobe Animate. And again, using some of the techniques that I used back when Flash was all the rage. Again, I enjoy this type of work. In fact, I enjoy environments where I get to utilize all my skills and all my skills are appreciated. So again, I'm using Adobe Animate and Illustrator to build this piece here. General Mills, I did a small kiosk for a project, and this was the top navigational motion treatment. So again, it's just an animated GIF GIF created in Photoshop, 7-second loop. And then for this straight curve math presentation, and the code motion graphics was by myself. I did use Photoshop, Illustrator, uh, Flash MX, and Flash Swift 3D. Now, Flash Swift 3D was a third-party application that rendered, you'd render 3D objects and then animate them with Flash. I've used that in a few of my past projects, and I think if this will load correctly, I think that's pretty cool. So this treatment here, I think, works out very well. So I'm gonna kind of speed through this a little bit. So what you'll see coming moving in will be 3D objects, and I thought they were basically they are letter blocks. So and then you highlight one, and it'll do a treatment and then present to you the information under that title. So again, I can't go through everything. I think this video would go on too long, but I've done a ton of motion graphic work, a lot of animation, a lot of illustration. When I grew up, I was a big cartoon nut, and I wanted to be an animator. And I'm also into comics a lot, and I wanted to be an illustrator. So that's when Flash came along. It just made things easier. Now, I mentioned animation, which is the last one. As far as new media is concerned, here's some of my animation work. Uh, Back when Flash was all the rage, and for a company called Platinum Romance, I worked. I created a character, a mascot, and did full blown animation for little promo pieces that would be displayed on the. It was an online dating site. It was a dating site, so the character is supposed to be a version of Cupid, and he's always chasing the heart, kind of like Wile Coyote and Roadrunner, that sort of thing. Tom and Jerry, that sort of thing. So I took inspiration from that, and so this was a call to action piece for people that were members of the website for dating, online dating. And here's another one, and then here's one that I built using actually syncing the characters' words with mouth with words, syncing the characters' animated mouth with words. But then also for accessibility's sake, made sure that I had a word balloon so that you could read it and know what he's saying. So yeah, I've done a lot of flash work, a lot of animation, a lot of motion graphic, which I'm actually very proud of and I enjoy doing. So we'll go to graphic design work. I won't spend too much time on that. I've done logo design, lots of logo. This is a DVD series that I created for myself. I did not only the content for the DVD series, but all of the collateral. Um, and it fits an actual DVD sleeve. And I've sold these online, more than a few times and things like that. This one's for how to brain tan buckskin, and this is how to make fire without matches using the bow drill. And then the subsequent logo behind those pieces, and then different work that I did for Rent magazine and the creative designer and Jostens. So we go to illustration. Tons and tons of illustration. That's what I grew up doing, is drawing. I was fortunate enough to become an illustrator for Jostens, and that was jewelry design. These are concepts of possible jewelry pieces. This one was for Smith and Wesson, which is a slave bracelet style. So it's a bracelet with a chain link that would go onto the middle finger. So this was just a proposal design. This is another piece for an earring, and again, I can freehand draw, so I can look at something or envision it and put it on paper. From Hanna-Barbera animation style or illustration to photorealistic, as you can see here. And then I built schematics that would go to the CNC operator to actually use these to build out the actual pieces. This is was to be a pendant, and what I did was work closely with a rep in Colombia, and she appreciated at the time that I would utilize Spanish in the presentation because she would also use this to present to the potential clients. So they didn't have to switch to English in order to know what's going on. So again, using my language skills, I enjoy studying Mandarin Chinese, Japanese, as I mentioned before, and Spanish. I dabble in some other languages too. So again, it's more illustration. So yeah, you could certainly come to my website and look at some of my illustration. This is just some. Um, Now we'll get to interactivities. And interactivities is that these are just little games that I've created using Flash. Um, and these are fun to make, and a lot of these are done again from scratch. So I did all of the artwork again, unless stated otherwise. So again, coming from an illustrative background, it's very easy for me to create things. And again, since Flash doesn't work in the browsers anymore, you can't play these. But like I said, I was able to take screen captures of the actual play. And so you could use your mouse and click on the space bar to fire lasers to destroy meteors before they hit their planet. And if they hit your screen, the actual using dynamic HTML or DHTML, the actual screen would shake. And I thought that was a really cool effect that I was able to create because this would be opened up in a separate window. And so there's a number of ways that this game was played. And I utilized some people's voices in the house to say, warning, asteroid approaching, warning, asteroid approaching, so on and so forth. So I've got audio on this if you want to really check it out. But again, unfortunately, you cannot play it. I've got a few games, few interactivities that are built in HTML5 video game or game that I created, kind of like Frogger. And then this one is my little character, which is supposed to be my personal mascot, Rudy Ryu. Again, Ryu meaning dragon. And again, it's like a dodge 'em game. So the stalactites he's to avoid, but in order to get to the next level, he's got to collect so many of these gems and eat them, so that he can then uh, breathe fire. And then the next level, had I gotten that far, he would be flying, and it'd be the same thing. And then, once he could fly, then he'd gain another different magic ability. So, yeah, I enjoyed doing these. A lot of fun with these games and um, uh, projects that I've worked on over the years, and I'm continually learning, continually tinkering, continually studying. So, if you stuck with me this far, I appreciate it. Again, hopefully, if everything's working right, studio.ryu.com. If not, this is just a taste of what I'm able to do, and I hope my narration uh, gave you some idea of the skill sets that I bring to the table.